If you're a 9 to 5 employee who's been looking to escape the grind of your business by working hard on your business part time, but nothing seems to be working for you, look no further. You found the right video. I know it can feel frustrating when you're working really hard on your job and you're taking the time on your days off and after work to work on your business, but it just doesn't seem to be moving the needle. Even after you've been living below your means to properly invest in moving forward in your business, but you just can't seem to get it right. Now, the gurus all say work hard and things will work out. But guess what? You found that is not necessarily true. Well, I'm going to give you 3 steps in this video that's going to allow you to actually gain the momentum that you've been desiring so you can finally free yourself from the grind of your 9 to 5. Now, it's a system that I'm going to also offer you for free at the end of the video that's going to be a game changer after you apply these tips. All right, let's dive right in. Tip number 1, you need to remain humble. Why do I say humble? Because humility is going to be one of the superpowers that you're going to apply to your new strategy. Because being able to develop the awareness of when you're wrong, and the faster you do that, the quicker you'll be able to get things right. You need to remain humble. Even if you've done excellent work on your job, you received a high-level certification or degree, there's always room for learning. There's always room for understanding. So you must remain humble and not let pride or ego get in the way of you getting to the next level. So remain humble. Now, step number 2, you must also remain curious. Why do I say curious? Because curiosity is actually the next superpower that's going to help you get to higher levels. Because when you're willing to learn more, you'll put yourself in a position to earn more, right? As they say, learning is earning. You must remain curious. Sometimes we learn things and we do so well at them that we can get complacent, right? We get comfortable. That's never a good thing. We must continually be developing, right? We need to remain perpetual students at a thing. We should never feel like we've arrived at something, right? We should never feel like we have finally gotten there, right? We reached our destination, because it's not actually about the destination. It's about the journey. So remaining curious is going to actually help you in learning the new things, because let's face it, let's just say you're humble and you discover that something is not working. If you're not curious, how are you going to learn the new thing that can work for you? So you must remain curious. All right. Moving on to tip number 3. Now, as I always say, the last tip is always foundational, right? And while these are all right or downers, this one is really important, because if you don't apply this last tip, you're really not going to be able to get much out of the first 2. Now, the last tip is open-mindedness. Why do I say be open-minded? Well, because when you are in a space where you're humble and you acknowledge that the way you've been doing things hasn't been working, right? But it's been working on you, remember, right? So don't get discouraged, but you're just simply aware that it's not effective, right? Even if it's something in the past that worked for you, it may not apply in the new arena, right? And then you actually became curious and you're willing to learn something new that can actually help you gain momentum. But when that new thing shows up, you begin to be uncomfortable because of how unfamiliar it is. And then that noise in your mind starts to nag at you and tell you that you're not good enough to actually learn this thing, that you won't be able to pull this off. That's just noise. Ignore it. Keep an open mind. Think about everything that you've achieved in your past, from your childhood to adulthood, as concerning the milestones that at first, before you actually attempted them, seemed like they were just utterly difficult and too big for you. Only for when you actually felt like you didn't have a choice and you had to push through, you found that it was actually a lot easier than you had anticipated. That's usually going to be the situation for a lot of things. Even when it comes to those special skills that you yourself may not be executing, but you may hire a specific who to do it for you, you still will need to properly at least understand the logic behind it so you can properly communicate. So keep an open mind when it comes to learning something and actually adapting to that thing that can give you the momentum finally that you've been looking for so you can leave your 9 to 5, because you don't want to do anything prematurely. This is why I say if you're not heavily cash liquid, you don't have a ton of cash reserves that can actually cover your expenses for a 3 to 5 year period, you want to keep that job, right? Well, the purpose of keeping your job or living below your means is to give you the flexibility and the durability to maintain your living while investing in your business as you're building it part-time. But you absolutely need to apply these 3 steps in order to gain the momentum in that business so that it can properly provide for you and your family and give you the freedom that you've been looking for. Now, I have a system that you can actually use now that you actually have these 3 tips down as your new habits. It's an acronym, OR, right? The acronym OR stands for observe the truth, analyze the truth, accept the truth, and adapt to the truth. Now, I know that these concepts aren't new, but me putting this system together in this way has greatly impacted my life because I had to realize that for me, a service-based business wasn't working, right? I actually had learned great success in tattooing. I learned how to prospect. I learned how to really sell, and I learned how to generate leads through paid advertising. But the business model of a service-based business simply wasn't the model for me because I felt like I was literally owning a job, right? So I had to apply those tips that I shared with you here in order for me to move to the next level, right? I had to humble myself to admit that, hey, even though this thing has helped me, it's got me to the point where I've earned 6 figures. And then I finally got to figure out a way for me to bring in consistent revenue while doing this. It simply was taking a lot of time away from my family, and it took a lot of physical energy and effort, which literally burnt me out in the end. So me being humble and admitting that it wasn't working for me allowed me to then be curious about learning a different way and a different business model approach. And I actually kept my mind open to learning things that seemed unfamiliar and uncomfortable to me, right? And then when I developed the system OR, it helped me to advance in those areas moving forward. So I hope this video was helpful to you. Like this video, leave a comment, tell us about your story about something that you worked hard on but didn't work for you and how you actually figured it out in the end. And also share this video with as many like-minded people as possible. And don't forget to hit that notification bell after you subscribe so you can actually get notified when we upload more helpful videos like this one. Have a great week, guys.